It was a quiet Sunday morning in Burlington, Vermont. The kind of morning where nothing feels urgent. No sirens, no raised voices. Just another day beginning. But inside a small apartment building near the University of Vermont, a young woman lay dead. Her name was Rita Curran. She was 24 years old. For more than half a century, her killer had no name. No arrest, no trial, only questions. Until 2022. This is the full story of Rita Curran. Who she was, what happened to her, and why the truth took 51 years to surface. Rita Curran was born in 1947 and raised in Vermont. She was known as quiet, thoughtful, and reliable. By 1971, she was living independently in Burlington in a modest apartment building at 413 South Winooski Avenue, just blocks from the University of Vermont. She worked as a medical technologist at the university's medical center. It was demanding work, precise, technical, and often behind the scenes. Rita wasn't reckless. She didn't live dangerously. She wasn't surrounded by chaos. She was simply a young woman building a life. And that is what makes this case so disturbing. On Saturday night, July 18th, 1971, Rita was home in her apartment. There is no evidence of a party. No signs of visitors coming and going. Nothing unusual reported. By the morning of Sunday, July 19th, Rita failed to appear where she was expected. Concern grew. When someone went to check on her apartment and entered, what they found was immediately horrifying. Rita Curran was lying on her bed. She was naked from the waist down. She had been strangled. There were clear signs of sexual assault. She was already gone. Police arrived quickly. The apartment showed no signs of forced entry. Nothing broken. Nothing smashed. This detail mattered. It meant Rita either knew her attacker, or the attacker had easy access to the building. Evidence was collected, carefully, thoroughly, and with the best tools available in 1971. But that year mattered too, because in 1971, DNA technology did not exist. Detectives interviewed neighbors, co-workers, friends, and anyone who had crossed paths with Rita. They looked closely at the people closest to her. One man immediately stood out. He lived in the same building, just 2 doors down from Rita. His name was William DeWitt. William DeWitt was 43 years old. He was an Air Force veteran, quiet, socially awkward, largely unnoticed. But police uncovered troubling details. DeWitt had a history of sexual misconduct. He had previously been investigated for attempted sexual assault. He lived close enough to observe Rita's routine. He had access to the building. He was questioned by police. But suspicion is not proof. And in 1971, proof was everything. Without DNA, without eyewitnesses, without a confession, police could not move forward. And then William DeWitt left Vermont. Shortly after Rita's murder, he relocated to Washington State. At the time, it raised eyebrows. But again, suspicion wasn't enough. The case slowly went cold. Rita Curran became another name in an unsolved file. Years turned into decades. Rita's family aged without answers. Investigators retired. Leads dried up. But one thing did not disappear: the evidence. Biological material collected in 1971 was preserved, stored, protected, waiting. In Washington State, William DeWitt lived quietly. There are no known confessions, no attempts to clear his conscience. In 1983, DeWitt died by suicide. At the time, no one publicly connected him to Rita Curran's murder. To the world, he was just another man whose life ended without explanation. But truth does not depend on confession. By the late 2010s, cold cases across the country began reopening. Not because of witnesses, but because of genetic genealogy. In 2021, Burlington police reopened the Rita Curran case. DNA from the crime scene was analyzed using modern methods. Instead of looking for a direct match, investigators looked for family connections, distant relatives, shared genetic markers, hidden links. Slowly, a family tree formed, and every branch pointed back to one man. William DeWitt. Though he had been dead for decades, his DNA signature lived on through his relatives. Investigators compared crime scene DNA with DNA from DeWitt's family. The match was conclusive. There was no doubt. In 2022, Burlington police made the announcement. The murder of Rita Curran was solved. Her killer was William DeWitt. He acted alone. There were no accomplices. Rita Curran was 24 years old when her life was taken. For 51 years, her killer lived and died without accountability. But truth has a way of resurfacing. Cold cases don't disappear. They wait. This was Rita Curran's story, and it deserved to be told. If you believe careful, respectful storytelling matters, subscribe to Truth Trove Stories. Thank you for watching.